Last year, this guy took a step back. He went from being an account executive closing role at Yelp to a SDR role at a tech company selling more complex software. Now, 1 year later, he's been promoted from SDR to account executive. And now, as an account executive at this new tech company, he's making double what he did at Yelp as an account executive. And so, in this video today, he's going to explain to you how he did it and why he did it. Enjoy. Hey everyone, I'm Samir. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tech Sales Mentors, and with me today I have Akash, who we worked with a little bit ago to help land a SDR role in tech sales, and he reached out to us the other day and told us he's getting promoted to an account executive role. And so today we just want to talk about that full journey and what it looks like, so you all can understand, what you can learn from Akash and how you can make it happen as well. And so, Akash, if we're to backtrack back to before we worked together, talk a little bit more about like your background experience and maybe some of the problems or challenges you were facing in your career that made you want to get into, tech sales. Because I know you were in tech sales, but there's buckets to it. So I'll let you chat.
So before working with TSM, I was a account executive at Yelp, which is a different account executive than I am now. And prior to that, I was a consultant for a company for SAP. Both my degrees were in supply chain, my MBA and BS. And I had gotten laid off, and I realized that sales is what I've always wanted to do. So let me try to do that. I applied the normal way, easy apply, Indeed, all that fun stuff. Never once did I get anything. And then, TSM one day popped up on my TikTok and Instagram. And I was like, hey, let me give these guys a shot. Let me look into it. I looked into it on Reddit, looked into it on everywhere. And I was like, you know what, let me just try it. Nothing's gonna happen. Reached out to Chris, and my life honestly changed. It helped me so much. They showed me ways how to get in to these SDR positions and just different ways that I would not think of, not having that sales background. Now having that sales background, I know which way to go. And sales is TSM, has just, I guess, changed my life. And I never thought within 1 year I'd make this much of a jump where I'm at now. Yeah, I mean that's what it is.
Cool. That's awesome. And one thing that maybe people, or maybe you even faced that you were confused about is like, before you worked with us, you were an account executive at Yelp. That's a tech company, right? And then when you came to work with us, we were saying, hey, you need to get an SDR role first, which for maybe people who are watching might not know the difference. Like SDR is that entry level role, whereas account executive is the one after. Like, how did you sort of decide that was right? And
so taking the step back was one of the biggest hurdles I had to go across in all my interviews. And my answer to all those was, I want to build a foundation. You cannot be a successful AE or account executive store without having that foundation of an SDR. And that's exactly what Chris had taught me, and that's exactly what Aline, my mentor, who I still till this day talk to. She knows about my promotion. I message her all the time. She's a great mentor and a great friend. And I guess that's it is. You want that foundation. You want to deal with those rejections from those C-suite level people. Dealing with rejection at Yelp was a little different. I'm calling more mom and pop shops, stuff like that. Something that they didn't really, I guess, see a need for at the time. But being able to help solve problems for corporations, it's good to have that SDR foundation.
yeah. And I think sometimes like it can be confusing to people because they see the account executive title and they're just like, it's the same, right? And I think like I'm sure you gained great sales skills at Yelp and but I think the difference is maybe what you've noticed is Yelp, it was like transactional sales, right? It was like 1 or 2 call closes. Where now at Culture Amp, it's 3, 6, 9 month sales cycles. It's a different type of sale. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but like, is you compared the AE compensation at Yelp to what it is you're making now? Is there a big difference there?
Yeah,
Or
huge jump, more than double. And obviously with OTE, you're looking at a lot more. And I'm grateful for that. And just, like you're right, the transactional sale is what Yelp was. Here, it's a longer sales cycle, the implementation and all that. And you're not just dealing with one person. There's a whole panel you're going to deal with. You're going to deal with, like, for me, for example, being in the HR space, a lot of CHROs, a lot of VPs of HR, and even the CFO, they want to talk about budget. That's obviously the biggest objective or objection you get with any sales role. But yeah, a big jump.
Yeah. Yeah, and are you coming in now as is it a SMB account executive or mid market, or did they
Yeah,
delegate?
I'll be a mid market. So I was a mid market SDR. So working as a mid market AE and just having that mid market experience dealing with companies that size, I think it's a smoother transition for me to
Yeah.
go into then hopefully move up to an enterprise role and so on from there.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome when you can skip past. And so for people watching that don't know, once you become an account executive, there's these steps, right? You sell to small businesses and then mid-market size and then enterprise size. And it's just really company size, right? How many employees they have. And that correlates to how much they'll pay for your software. And so we won't blow up your spot, Akash, but, for anyone watching, mid-market account executives, this is public data on RepView. It's like the last store for tech sales. Those people are in general making in the high 180, 190, 200 range at 100% of their quota. So that's super amazing for you. Super excited. Could you talk a little bit about what it was like working with us? So if you can go back to that time, what were some of the challenges you faced working with us? Before working with us that we helped you address in the job search?
Honestly, my interview questions. I wasn't answering it as good as I should have been. I was doing the interviews, I was getting those calls, but I wasn't going past that first round. And on my end, there was no outreach. That's something that I learned. After that first initial call, do some outreach. Even prior to that, do some outreach. That's one thing I learned so much. Even being an SDR now, obviously outreach is everything I do.
Yeah.
I'm just learning that part of it, and just being able to answer those questions how they want to answer it and be more concise. I talk a lot anyways, and I was just rambling on in my interviews, and they don't really care for all that fluff that you're adding on.
Yeah, totally. And so then, when you got your job at Culture App, you did the SDR role. How long did it take you to get promoted? A little over a year?
A little less than a year.
A little less. Wow.
I haven't been in seat for a year yet. I'll be in this seat for a year in 2 weeks.
That's awesome. I think in general it takes 1 to 2 years. So
does. It does. I guess I was the lucky.
No, that's amazing. I think probably part of it was timing, but hey, you weren't the only SDR. You got promoted for a reason over other people. Could you talk a little bit about I'm sure hitting quota is important. What else do you think was important in getting to that next step?
Making those relationships with those people. Talking to the AE manager, talking to your AEs. I'm very, very close with my current AE because I'm still an SDR technically for another week. But still very close with my account executive. Make those relationships, learn about it, and actually be involved in your discovery calls with your account executive. Take your notes and send those notes to your account executive so that knows you're actually paying attention. Because SDRs, they're on the call, they're not really paying attention. Pay attention and be on top of your stuff. That's one of the biggest things. Yes, quota obviously is a big factor. But if you are actively doing your outreach, you're actively doing everything in your power, you will hit quota. That is something that's not as hard as people make it sound to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying sales is easy. I'm not saying sales is so hard, but if you're putting the work in, you'll get there. I follow a bunch of people on LinkedIn, for different views on how to go about my outreach, and I utilize LinkedIn so much. But I think that's the biggest thing, just being able to talk to your manager. Make your manager know that you want to move up. You don't want to be an SDR for 2+ years.
Yeah, totally. And one thing I want to hit on there is you mentioned I use LinkedIn a lot. I think for some people, they may think oh, do I have to build a personal brand on LinkedIn? What does it mean? What do you focus on when you're getting on LinkedIn?
Just reaching out to a bunch of people. That's I guess my main focus, even as an AE now, just being able to hit those points where people oh, this is a pain point at my company. Oh, what does this guy do? Let's look into the company. And just like that, that's my biggest, I guess, thing for LinkedIn. Personal brand is great. I personally I want to start doing those day in the life as account executive. And I think I might be starting doing that, next week. Just get out of your comfort zone. And that's one thing I'm learning slowly. But yeah, building your personal brand in that aspect.
Yeah. And like what I'll also say is like, hey, like you got to this point without doing that. And so I also want to, like, if anyone thinks that's what they need to do, like clearly you've had success just focused on your outreach and all that kind of stuff, and hitting your numbers and connecting with people in the organization. So like now that you're transitioning into the AE role, um obviously you got a lot to learn. Like where are you, like what's sort of the next focus for you the next 30, 60 days on like, hey, here's what I got to focus on to start mastering some of this role?
Yeah. Obviously just going over gong calls with my team, learning how they are doing their discovery. Obviously, as an SDR, your discovery is a lot more minimal. You're just trying to get that meeting booked, right? But the AE is taking that a step further. So that's my 3690 is to prepare on those, run as many discos as I can, mock ones, real ones, whatever it may be. I'm working with my management team, my account executive peers, using that knowledge and making myself better, and I guess closing deals. I mean, I closed before at Yelp. I can do it again. I to work retail sales too, so I've closed.
Yeah.
Closing on this bigger scale is it's a little stress factor that it's kind of scary, but if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And just utilize like YouTube. That's one thing that like TikTok even helps at this point. Like that's what got me here, right? That's what got me to TSM. Was utilizing those kind of tools for your own knowledge. Just even ChatGPT, like that's how. And if I have objections, I talk to ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, like give me an objection and let me see how I can handle it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love how resourceful you are. Last question is, focused on, or I got another one after that, but second to last question is, now that you've been selling at Culture App for the past year, you've seen how deals play out. Like, how would you sort of, how did you have to change your sort of sales approach, sales strategy from what you learned at Yelp and what you were focused on at Yelp in conversation?
Here, I'm trying to solve the problem. That's the biggest thing. You want to talk a lot less. You want the prospect to talk a lot more. At Yelp, it's more of the transactional type. Here, you are genuinely trying to solve the problem. You are making that problem for the company to realize, okay, yeah, I'm having issues with employee engagement, with performance management. How are we supposed to fix that? You are that problem solver, and was the change I had to make. Was making them realize that, okay, this is an issue with what I'm facing at work.
Yeah, cool. And so now, a little less than a year later, we never did this originally, like an interview after. Like, would you say TSM was worth it? Like, imagine someone else is in your shoes. They had sales experience. They're considering tech sales. They're considering TSM.
Yeah, I 110% recommend this to everybody. After I finished, I actually made one of my best friends do it. He is now an SDR too, at a company. I won't go into details, but he's also there. And I've referred countless people for this program that have not had sales experience prior. Whoever's watching this, listen to this, TSM, honestly, it's worth it. Reach out to me. I can give you the rundown. Also use me as a referral if anyone's out there. But it was great. Changed my life. Did not think within a year I'd be where I am. I'm truthfully grateful that I found you guys on, Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, appreciate your time, Akash. I'll leave your LinkedIn below in case people want to take you up on that. And then for anyone interested in getting a great tech sales job, and progressing like Akash, I'll leave our links below and you can sign up to chat with us more. Cool. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.